sometimes use the public transportation, especially if I don't have any mode of transportation left. So that is how much I use the public transportation. So it's not that usual. I sometimes go for the public transportation, especially if I am not in a rush.
I use public transport once a week.
Since I'm staying a bit far from all the public transportation stations, I rarely use public transportations.
I personally think that public transportation is quite friendly to foreign users because it have lots of method like public bus and then public train, and we have lots of types of train like monorail, LRT, KTM, but MRT also, but the time need to be fixed, like train sometimes doesn't really follow the schedule, so it's quite hard, especially for those who are in rush. So that is why I think it's not that friendly user, but it's sometimes a friendly user.
I think that public transport in Kuala Lumpur is quite friendly, but for the train or KTM user, it's quite complicated. So I recommend that you go with someone expert to explore on how or where the track will go.
I think for now it is friendly, but actually, those who are working in the customer service lane, they should actually try to speak more in English because sometimes they don't understand certain English words.
As I've stated before, I think that the issue that need to be fixed is the time management, because sometimes the train are like late for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So it will affect the schedule time. Like if the train arrived late, then it will get to the final destination late also. So that is the issue that is always associated with the public transportation, like train or public bus. So people in Kuala Lumpur sometimes will choose Grab, like taxi over the public transportation because of this issue, because especially when they are in rush hour or peak hour.
The issue that often associated with public vehicle is, I think, time management. Because sometimes the train or the public transport come very early or very late compared to the timetable given in their portal. So we as a user already plan ahead our time, so it will disrupt the flow of our program.
I think their time schedule needs to be fixed because sometimes the times are not frequent. So sometimes if you have to go to one destination to another destination, you have to wait for the bus or train to arrive. So it's not like convenient for us to use.
Yes, I would recommend to my friends, if they are not in rush and if they wanted to visit places in Kuala Lumpur, I think that it's better to use public transportation for the low cost. But if they are in rush, I think that it's better for them to use their own vehicles, because public transportation is actually better in performance rather than having to drive on your own because of the traffic jam and so on. So if you wanted to enjoy the sightseeing in Kuala Lumpur, it's better for you to use the public transportation. Okay.
And yes, I would recommend to my friend to use public transport, but let me emphasize again that for train or KTM, I would recommend that you go with someone expert or someone that know the route and time of the train. because the train sometimes arrive earlier and sometimes arrive later than the scheduled time.
I think for now, I will recommend to use public transportations because it is more convenient compared to rental car services and also Grab.
As of the price, I think that it is quite reasonable. Maybe because I can afford it, but for those who can't really afford it, maybe for them it is quite pricey. Especially especially if they wanted to jump from one train to another, because they will charge differently. And I think that maybe the public transportation, especially train or bus, they can use only one card to go to, like to scan on whenever you enter and when you want to go out from the public transportation. So maybe that they can use only one card for all public transportation instead of needing to make like to make one card and another card.
Yeah, I think the price of public vehicle is very reasonable for users in Malaysia, especially for students, because as for me, which I use once a week, I think it's very reasonable because you can go to KL only like 4 to 5 ringgit. So I think it's very reasonable.
Yeah, if we compare with like Grab and also like AirAsia, right, it is more cheaper. I think it is affordable.
Okay, thank you.
Right.